Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of August 10th through the 16th of 2020. All right, so this week we still have a lot of square energy to work with. Again, squares can be very constructive and it can become a very constructive week in this sense. Most importantly, from the context of the last full moon. Monday of last week, around there was a time of coming to some insights, some shifts of perspective that now we can challenge ourselves to integrate, particularly this early part of the week. On Monday, Mercury squares Uranus, great day for mixing up that routine in healthy and constructive ways, maybe also challenging ourselves with communication in a way that we're willing to get outside of our comfort zone a little bit and maybe do some change with that as well. The hallmark of the week is really around Mars, the planet of initiative, squaring up to Pluto, the deep planet of bringing up fears and really needing to cultivate our deeper needs and desires. So with this, really good pretty much all week, but especially midweek to practice non-attachment, right? Collective energy could be tense. It could be a bit wanting, again, those needs to be met. So good to see where that's coming from, bring conscious attention to that, and then set the intention to implement anything that we might need for more of our personal needs and desires. Then once we get to the weekend, that energy starts to dissipate. We start to close out the current lunar month. Energies die down a little bit. And then Mars is in good aspect up to the Sun and Mercury, giving us maybe some confidence, some initiative, some assertiveness, and much more easier to work with sort of way. All right, so let's take a look at all this as well as a quick weekly overview here in more detail when we return. All right, so here is the sky for the week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting with Monday. And again, we are using the visible sky called True Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, definitely check out that link down below for more information. We are using the visible sky, which is different from mainstream astrology. And you will notice the signs are very different, some of these placements of signs. So definitely check out that link if you are new to the channel. All right, so let's do a quick weekly overview in terms of where the planets are placed here. And in the case of the Sun has recently entered Leo. So as it will be for the next month plus, it's still good to focus on what is it we enjoy in life? What do we find fun? What is it that we find passionate, it's close to our heart? And focusing on that, right? Maybe creating, maybe some playful energy, some expressive energy, expressing ourselves. All right, really good time to do this with the Sun here. Now, Mercury will join up with the Sun midweek, adding to that fiery energy. But Mercury is still in watery Cancer. So these first few days of the week, still good to maybe finalize some things regarding thinking about the past or what's important to us on an emotional level. And maybe in our communications, practicing some of that caring, nurturing, and protective energy, still really good there. Now, Venus is slowly entering Gemini coming into the week. So recognizing that for the next few weeks, it could be quite enjoyable in regards to maybe communicating in relationships, sharing ideas, gaining knowledge, information, and simply maybe just enjoying learning, enjoying picking up that book, maybe doing some writing. That is a backdrop as well. And of course, Mars is still in Pisces. So it is a very Mars week. There's a lot of this fire, initiative, personal needs, desires. So remembering with Mars and Pisces that it is about being receptive to our needs right now. Mars is what we want. Pisces is the oceans of life. And so it's very important being in the ocean to listen, to feel the currents, right? And to put that motivation and energy towards where the current of life is already taking us versus trying to, swim against the current or just, swim in a random direction. So a good time to listen to our intuition, what's important to us on a soul and spiritual level, and practicing more acceptance and peace when it comes to that action and assertiveness. So let's take a look at the squares. Like I said, some square energy this week. And squares can be very constructive for setting intention, but it can also mean a bit of a collective sort of tension or challenging energy to work with. And in the case of Monday, Mercury, the planet of communication, is going to be in a square up to Uranus, the planet of wanting to induce some change, or sometimes just needing to get outside of our comfort zone a little bit. So if there is anything, first of all, with communication that might seem out of left field or unexpected, if that's the case, that of course won't be for everybody. But if it's something like that, I think it's good to see if maybe there are some things to think about outside the box, right? Maybe there's some perspectives we're not considering. Maybe there's some changes that life is helping us induce that, although we may not be seeing because we might be resisting it a little bit, maybe seeing how there can be some constructive changes. And this could be particularly changes with maybe how we're communicating, maybe dealing with some correspondence, some things like that. And then maybe also with the routine. Sometimes with this, we just need a little bit of a change with the routine. Wanting to mix things up there, again, get outside the comfort zone, could be very constructive when we set the intention, right? When we set the intention with these squares, that's where it really becomes constructive. And on Monday and Tuesday, we do have quite a bit of fiery energy anyways, because the moon will be in very independent and initiating Aries. So themes likely around Monday, around taking initiative, could be very good, and cultivating those needs and desires that Aries represents. In fact, it's very much that kind of week, because as we start to get into midweek, as we approach Wednesday and Thursday, Mars, the ruler of Aries, of that initiative and needs, is going to be in a challenging square with deep and intense Pluto. So collectively, this could be a bit of a tension. It could be collectively, we can feel like our needs aren't being met, or we're really wanting to control things. And so what is really coming to the surface here is that Pluto is helping us become more aware of where we do have attachment and we do have fears. Because, attachment is when we're afraid of something, right? We want to hold on to it. We want to try to control it because we're, unconsciously or very deep down, afraid of some other outcome or not having the thing we want or something like that. So midweek is a really good time to bring, again, extra conscious awareness to this side of ourselves, to our fiery side, our independent side, and see if there are some things that we can practice more, not only awareness with, which in itself will help neutralize the energy, but also practice non-attachment with. Maybe again, there are some deep things that we might be reacting to or wanting to control, that by being aware of it can help neutralize it, but also then channeling it, right? Like I said, squares are very constructive. So the hallmark of this aspect is about seeing what it is we really do want, right? What is our deep needs and desires? And then channeling it constructively. It might require facing some fears, moving into some fears, empowering ourselves in some way. And in fact, if we can channel it in this way, making some changes or taking action towards things that might be uncomfortable, but we know we want to make or need to make, right? Then very, very constructive time. In fact, it's these kinds of time periods that can be very transformative, very empowering. And we can, in this case, get a lot done if it's like that, or just, again, pursue those things that are very deeply important to us. All right. And then as we do get into this Wednesday, Thursday time period, it will be a good time, pretty much Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, to get into some earth energy. There's not a whole lot going on with the earth in the sky right now, but these few days, it could be good to maybe connect to some nature. Maybe eat a good meal, get some relaxation, some comforts, and connect to the resources of life, even beauty and abundance, right? Aesthetics, things like this can be very, very constructive. And in this way, that can help also help us work with this middle part of the week. All right, and then once we do get into the weekend here, we're going to start to ease up off of some of that more intense or deeper energy collectively. Start to feel a bit of the, that energy dissipating and a little bit of support from that fiery side. Over the weekend, we're going to have Mars then in good aspect to the Sun and Mercury. And this can actually help us feel quite confident, maybe quite direct in a easier way, maybe quite expressive, maybe with expressing ourselves or communication, just a lot of an easier fiery energy to work with over the weekend there. Now, as a backdrop to the weekend, Uranus is going to go station retrograde. So this happens once a year and it happens for about 6 months. So nothing major with this, but it's usually a good time to take a step back when it comes to wanting more freedom in our life, more change. The side of ourself that really wants to align our lives to be a reflection of our true selves, right? And just see if there has been anything over the past 6 months that we have been taking some initiative towards to, again, create more freedom. Maybe kind of pause with it and start to reflect on it a little bit. This can also mean a little bit of a break or a little bit of a pause from some of the changes we've been seeing collectively or personally the past 6 months when it does come to freedom and those needs and desires. And maybe going back and re-examining what are our really true self desires, right? And what can we do to go back and rework some things so that our life can be a greater reflection of our true selves and bring in more freedom into our life. So good to go back, redo, rework, re-examine that freedom-based, true self-based aspects of ourselves. Nothing major. We usually don't feel those collective planets going retrograde that strongly personally, but just a good way of seeing the backdrop for the weekend. All right, and then also over the weekend, we're going to have the moon shifting into Gemini. So like I was saying, good to be enjoying maybe some of those communications. Again, especially with Mars easing up on that tension, maybe enjoying some conversing, sharing of ideas, knowledge, or just picking up that book, doing some reading, writing. Could be a good weekend with that as we do, again, come off of some of that fiery energy and feel a little bit more support with the fiery energies of Mars. All right, and then this is going to be the closeout phase of the lunar month. So as we approach the new moon, which will be around Wednesday of next week, it will be about closing out this current lunar month. So starting to create some space, finalize some things, complete some things, and get ready for those new beginnings around the corner. As a very minor note, I will say that Venus will be squaring Chiron as we go through Sunday. So Sunday, if there's anything involving relationships that might be quite healing or therapeutic just by connecting or exchanging, this could end up becoming a very good healing time. Nothing major with this, but good to kind of be aware of that. If you're into the healing arts or if you've been doing healing for yourself, the relating energy could be a good way of challenging yourself with that one. All right, everyone. So that is the week in a nutshell. Put simply, squares, kind of fiery energy with all these planets, with Sun and Mercury in Leo. It is about cultivating what we find fun and passionate and expressing ourselves. But mainly this week, doing so in such a way that we are as non-attached as possible, or at least just being aware of where these deep, needs are, these deep fears are, and then channeling it. Right, channeling it into inducing some change that we know we deeply do want to make, because now we can become more aware of those deeper needs and desires. And then as we get into the weekend, starting to notice a little bit of that lifting off as we get some supportive energy from Mars and the Sun and Mercury. All right, everyone, so have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. If you aren't yet signed up for the MTZ newsletter, definitely check out the link down below. That's where we get updates on the astrological events and some of the videos that aren't released on YouTube. So if you're into these kinds of updates and astrology news in general, definitely sign up for the MTZ Insiders. But everyone have a great week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that like button if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all next time for the next weekly forecast. Take care.